Cool. So my first category, just to remind you, is like about your home country and your
Mm-hmm.
experience. And so I just want to start off with you telling me about your family and what they're like.
It's good. So I grew up in some kind of like it's a really weird mix between a nuclear family and a whole family, as we say back home. So for the first 4 years of my life growing up, I just had my parents and my brother in the house, and then when I was like around 6 to 8, I can't remember exactly, we moved to my grandparents' house. So I lived with my parents, my maternal grandparents, and one of my maternal uncle and his kids. So it was a big house and it was like a big environment. Absolutely no privacy. So that was nice back then. But now after coming to America, I'm like, I appreciate privacy a lot. Just like one thing was like there is no closed door policy. Um, Rooms are all open and stuff like that. So it's like you never have any time for yourself unless if you're outside the house, which had me leave the house a lot, I guess. But yeah, pretty close knit family, close knit neighborhood. Um, we would be sitting outside the house. We'll have put some chairs outside the house, and we will be drinking tea all day, or smoking hookah, or both at the same time. Once we have around 4 people sitting outside the house on the chairs, we whip out our cards and we start playing some card games till like sunset or after. So it was pretty nice communal feeling all day long. Yes. Yeah.
So the community is really important to you.
Yes. Very very. I lived in a very crowded neighborhood. We had a lot of families and a lot of kids all over the street at all times. And since we were like in a semi-private road, there wasn't a lot of cars going through, so it was just like people walking or people hanging out with each other in the street and stuff like that. And everyone knew everyone. Like they knew everything about everyone too at the same time. Like the community was like the family didn't stop in the house, but it was all around all the way till the end of the street, like 17 houses down or so. And I just like, you befriend everyone and life goes on. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. My next question: what do you miss about your family and being there?
Um, well, seeing my family. Mom's cooking. She's a pretty good cook. I didn't think I'll miss that until I came here, and I was like, oh, you actually was a good cook. I mean, compared to the KCC, there is a big gap. There's a big gap there. Um, I don't know. Miss smoking hookah with my dad and my brother, and playing cards with them. Playing soccer with my neighbors. That's like a big thing that happened every Friday. Um, I miss the communal feeling. How like there is no such thing as stranger or acquaintances. Like if you know someone, they're friends and they'll be there for you whenever you need them, even if you met like once or you just have someone that you know in common or something like that. So that communal feeling is deeply missed. Um, what else? Let's see. Um, Public transportation. I miss public transportation, how cheap it was and how convenient it was. Like, I never thought I'll ever buy a car. I won't need a car back home. But here, like, if I want to go to Walmart, I need a car. Or beg my friends to take me with them and ruin their schedules for them to do so. So, yeah, public transportation, just like I could go from my house to anywhere in the city or outside the city for around 25 cents. So it was like super cheap and super affordable. And even in our public transportations and taxis, there's this sense of community because, like, you don't have a taxi for your own. You just take a seat in the taxi, and the cab can load on more patrons, I guess. So you would just meet people all the time when you get in a taxi, just like 4 new people. You tell stories, you get to know each other, you end up being friends by 5 minutes because that's how long it takes you to go anywhere in Gaza. Um, so yeah, I guess the community in general is like a big thing about things that I miss. I feel like there is a strong sense of community here, but it takes some time to develop. It's different. Like you need to hang out with someone for a certain amount of time to call them friends. Back home, you just need to know their names and they'll be friends. And so yeah.
Cool.
Mhm.
Thank you. So my next question, could you walk me through an average day in Palestine while you were growing up there?
Okay. I think my normal routine day would start at 5 in the morning. I'd go to morning prayer in the mosque. We had a mosque like I'd say 2 minutes walk from our house. So the waking up at 5 a.m. was not an option because the call to prayer is so close that it wakes you up every single day. So since you're awake at 5 a.m., might as well just go pray. So I'd start at 5 a.m., go pray, come back. I'll help my brother with some soccer in the morning up until 6:30. Then at 6:30, I start getting ready for school. I walk down to the old market, which is a 5 minute walk from my house, and there I'd have breakfast. Just some hummus, some falafel, and a sandwich. Something very, very routine and also very cheap. Um, then I'll take a cab to my school, which is like a 7 minute ride. And I'll get to know 4 to 8 people during that ride. Big conversation, mostly about politics or about why I go to a Catholic school when I'm not Catholic. So it's always like a lively conversation in the morning. I went to a private school, so my school day was longer than all of my friends is. My school starts at 7:30, and then I'm done at 2:30 p.m. Usually, all of my other friends are done at noon. So I'll be back. Everyone will be like ready to play soccer or do something right after. Since we don't have really a big emphasis on homework, so all our studies happen in school. We barely studied outside of school unless it's like finals week or something like that. So the rest of the year, it would be just like doing stuff all day. So I think the most normal thing would be just like hanging out in the street for hours from like 4 p.m. to like 9 p.m. at least. And then after that, it turns into maybe a FIFA competition on PlayStation or something like that till like midnight. Then you hope that you're too tired that the call to prayer in the morning won't wake you up again, but it always will. So, yeah.
Cool.
Mhm.
Thank you. So my next question is, what did you like best about living in Palestine?
Um, hmm. Since my only two experiences in living are Palestine and the US, not really sure about my favorite thing.
Maybe.
I guess.
Maybe in like comparison to the United
Yeah, I guess in comparison, as I said before, like the community feeling is a really huge thing. The communal living, um, freedom of speech in a different context than the U.S. So here in the U.S., the government won't do anything to you, whatever you said, if you criticize it or something like that. Back home, there is the risk that you will be arrested, depending on what you say and who you said it to, and whether you trust the people that you criticize the government in front of or not. Um, so I think that risk was always nice, I guess. My uncle was arrested once for criticizing the government, so that was. I know it's such a bad thing to say that was nice, but it was kind of nice. It's just like having this feeling and appreciating freedom of speech there was a big thing, because if you trust the people that there to know that they won't snitch on you to the government if you criticize the government, then you can actually have conversations with people that you disagree with that are constructive, which I don't have the same feeling about it here. Here, I feel you either agree with the people that you're arguing with. If you don't, usually it's never a constructive conversation. Ends up in name calling usually here. But I guess the nice part of it is that you don't have to worry about the government arresting you. So that's kind of like a weird favorite thing about back home, the way freedom of speech works, kind of.
Do you think people value it more?
People definitely do, since we kind of don't have it. So there's a huge value on it. You know, like when it's a given, it's different from it's something that you're seeking. So since we're seeking freedom of speech or complete freedom of speech, people do value different opinion. People are like, oh, I didn't see it that way. Makes sense. I don't think I've ever heard that here yet, especially when I see a Democrat and Republican talk. I don't think I've ever heard one of them being like, "Oh, that makes sense." It's just like I was like, you don't make any sense, buddy," or something like that. So it's interesting to see the difference.
Cool. Thank you. So going to the next section, like your journey to America. How you got here. So I know you came here as a high schooler first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Could you just tell me how that process worked?
Yeah. So since a young age, I was actually, I guess, pretty talented with English. So my teachers recommended my parents to put me in an organization called Amid East, which is an American non-governmental organization that functions in the Middle East. And the idea of it is to promote English language and American culture in the Middle East, and more cooperation between the Middle East and America, or the United States, I guess. So I started taking courses at that center or organization when I was 10 years old. And I was the youngest student they had in their advanced levels, so it was always like really nice to have. But because of that, they recommended that I apply to the Kennedy Lugar Youth Exchange and Study Program, which is a program funded by the Department of State here, and it focuses on bringing high school students from Muslim majority countries to the U.S. To show American communities that Islam is not what Fox News tells them it is, I guess. It's like to show the real face of Islam, or like how a Muslim community functions through an exchange. So they bring students from Muslim majority countries here, and they would send American students to the Middle East, or other Muslim majority countries, not only the Middle East. So I got that program, and I was placed in Westerville, Ohio, which is a suburb of Columbus, Ohio. And that was a pretty nice experience. It was challenging at first. My family and I, or my host family and I, didn't see eye to eye, I guess, when I came in here. But through conversations, there was a lot of better understanding, and now I consider them as a real family here. Like when I'm here for college, whenever I have a break and I have some time to go see them, I always go to Ohio and hang out with them for a while, a week or two. So that's, I think, the opportunity that I got to come to the United States. It wasn't easy in the terms of traveling. Gaza is pretty sieged. So leaving the siege was not easy in any way, shape, or form. And the year I was supposed to leave was one of the latest wars on Gaza. It was 2014. And so the week I was supposed to leave, a war started in Gaza, and I wasn't able to leave for like till the end of it. And even when it was over, I got rejected multiple times to get a permission from Israel to travel, because I have to get permission for Israel to cross through Israel to get to the airport in Jordan. So that was tricky. I got rejected multiple times, but I guess one day I got a call at 9 p.m. and they were like, if you're not at the border by 6 in the morning tomorrow, then you won't leave.